This is Carl from Dirt Wheels. We're here with the 2022 Polaris Pro XP4 Ultimate, which is until recently the highest trim level that you could get in the Polaris Sport side-by-sides. Four-seater, obviously, Xp4, most modern chassis design that they have, and it has the computerized Fox live valve suspension, and it has the 181 horsepower 925cc turbocharged engine. Recently, Polaris has announced that they have a 74-inch wide machine that's similar, the same motor, same body style, and also one with a 2-liter 225 horsepower engine. But at the moment, the one that you can actually go buy at a dealer, this is as good as it gets. We really like the four-seater. The long chassis has a like a really relaxed feel. It feels very stable on climbs. Doesn't want to lift the front wheels or feel like it's going to flip over backwards even if you're climbing really steep. Same thing with descents. It feels really calm, real easy to drop down really steep stair steps or drops off, and it's got a long enough wheelbase to bridge gaps as you drop down. Really good approach and departure angles are good, so it's really a very capable car, whether you're using it for trails or desert or sand dunes. It can do all of those things and do it really well. When Polaris designed the Pro XP basic package, they made sure to extend the wheelbase enough that they could add room for the passengers. So there's more leg room for the front seat passengers and for the back seat passengers than there were in the previous Polaris Turbo four-seaters that were somewhat shorter wheelbase, and they also ride a little bit lower. You ride a little lower in the car, and it has doors that come up high enough on your shoulders to make you feel like you're really safe. Because it's a high-performance car, it also has sort of a 6-way seat belt in the front and the rear. So instead of having a 5-point that goes between your legs, it has a 6-point that pulls down across your thighs and pulls across the waist and has 2 over the shoulders. The front shoulder belt are retractable, which is unusual in a harness type seat belt, and it's really nice, very comfortable. Enjoy having that. Makes it really nice to ride in. And then in the back, it doesn't have the adjustable shoulder belts, but it also does have a lot of room, and it is very comfortable to ride in, and you're able to see out of the machine and see forward, and it has a comfortable ride back there. You don't ever feel like on some of the short wheelbase four-seaters that you're getting impacts right up your spine. You don't feel any of that with this car. Pro XP is 64 inches wide. With the size tires that it has and the long wheelbase, when you go across whoop-de-doos slowly, sometimes you do feel the bottom of the car kiss the top of the wheel whoop-de-doos, and then if you're crossing the spine of sand dunes or something, you have to carry a little bit extra momentum, because as long as the car is, you will drag the undercarriage going across, and you have to just be cautious of that. We have a lot of time in the Turbo S four-seater with the 32-inch tires, a car that is not offered this year, but it was 72 inches wide, and we never really felt that the center of the car bottoming out like we do on this one. But overall, it's a worthy trade-off because it feels so stable at speed, and it feels so composed when you're climbing or doing drops. For a car that's fairly long wheelbase, it turns remarkably well, and that is whether you're fast on fire roads, on desert 2-track trails, or in the sand dunes if you're just cutting edges and moving around. It turns plenty well for a long wheelbase car, and you'd be surprised the tight trails that you can get it on where you would think it wouldn't fit around the corners, but the rear follows the front really nice, and it does fine. Perhaps one of the most important things about this car, and impressive, is this computerized suspension that it has. So it has 3 settings that are controlled with buttons on the steering wheel, and you can have comfort, standard, and firm. And so when you select those, there's a screen on the dash that'll show you how much damping force is being employed, and it's on a scale of 1 to 10. Even when you're on the firmest setting, you're using only on number 6, so it still leaves you some room for the suspension to be stiffened up. So that can be stiffened by the computer sensing that it needs to go stiffer. Anytime all 4 tires leave the ground, it goes full stiff for the landing automatically. And then there's also a red, I kind of call it the panic button on the steering wheel, that anytime you hit the red button on the steering wheel, it also goes to full stiff on the suspension. So if you're driving along and you see a ditch or a G-out or some kind of big impact, especially if you're set on one of the softer drive settings, then you can just hit the red button and it instantly goes to full stiff, and you can drive smoothly through that and then let off the button and you're instantly back on the comfort setting that you had before. And it makes for excellent performance, but also just amazing comfort for the driver and the passengers. You have such a wide range of off-road terrain capability where the car has a suspension setting that'll work, and it's all right there at your fingers on the steering wheel. It's really nice. To make the dynamics work, it needs a GPS, so the car also has the Ride Command GPS system installed. It's got a 7-inch glove touch screen, and it will show you what the suspension's doing, show you where you're going on the GPS, and it will also display gauges, and then it also has stereo. The Ultimate comes with speakers, front and rear, and then a radio, an antenna, and then you can also stream your music off your device by Bluetooth into it also. In all, the Pro XP Ultimate, it's a good looking car, it's a modern car, it's got a really solid chassis under it, and it's got the performance and the comfort that will make you happy that you went for a high-end model and really went for something that will give you all the suspension that you could ever want and plenty of power to work it when you get in the rough. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Go to www.dirtwheelsmag.com for more information.